I say I miss Phil's piano playing more than just about anything.
Ray, I miss my own piano playing.
He does. Well, I got to tell you, it's weird though when I actually accidentally had my other actual YouTube window open, and when you start playing piano on top of the other one, it becomes a little odd.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. Justice, you're a bit holy today.
Am I? Oh yeah, I got some green. Oh, that's the same green.
Yeah,
actually, that's the same color as my green screen. Oh, well. That way you can see through how upset I am about some of the things we're going to talk about today.
Great transition.
I'm being as transparent as I can be.
I love it. I love it.
Purely transparent.
Yes, totally transparent. So what are we talking about today? Because, you said if this is the future of EVs, I'm out. And as my headline says, at my age, I just want a future.
Oh, gosh.
So what's going on?
Well, so, sorry we missed the last couple of weeks, everyone. I was not feeling well, so I had to beg out. It's my fault. But we're back now. And 3 weeks ago now, I helped my buddy go buy a Ioniq 5. Like many people who hang around me and drive around in my car, he started asking questions and then decided his lease was coming up and he wanted to get into an EV. His lease happened to be the first lease I ever did when I worked at the car dealership too.
Okay.
So he had a Toyota that he really enjoyed a lot. But he wanted a hybrid or something better on gas. And then driving around with me, he decided he wanted to go EV. So he's looking at the EV6 initially, but was a little bit out of his price range. So we went to the Ioniq 5. I got lots of real world experience. We had to go to 8 different dealerships.
How many?
8. We had to go to 8 dealerships. Anyone in the Sacramento area wondering about Hyundai Kia, I can assure you, they're still crap in our area. You got to go. Ironically, we had to go to the Bay to get a good deal.
Wow.
That is pretty ironic, right?
Yeah.
So we went from them actually marking up at a local dealership. Actually, they used to be part of the group that I worked for. They were marking up the Ioniq $2,000.
Oh my goodness!
And we went to one about an hour from here that wouldn't take $1 off. Just wouldn't mark it up, but won't take $1 off. So we went out to Hyundai of San Leandro and spoke with Mike there. So if you're in the area and you're looking for something good, go over to Mike. They give us $3,000 off.
Wow.
Plus the rebates, of course. We were in and out in about an hour and a half from there. Everybody was great. We had Mike, our salesperson, and Mike, the F&I guy, who just made everything really, really quick. Even gave my buddy a tier bump on his credit. And without asking, he's like, you know what, you're close. I'm giving you a tier bump. And it was a fantastic experience.
So may I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Prior to getting to that dealership, how much time had you guys invested at, say, the other 7 dealerships?
So, we tried a lot of it just to do the email thing first, but my buddy's an impatient guy.
Okay.
So he wanted to, he wants to go in there and get it and do it. And I was like, okay, fine, whatever. So we went, but the longest we were at one dealership was 4 hours.
Oh my.
And that was the one who the salesperson or the sales manager just wouldn't take $1 off. He just would not do it. But on average, I think we were at each of them for about 2 hours.
So there was 14 hours invested.
Yeah, and keep in mind, we didn't test drive at most of them.
Yeah,
We'd already test driven.
sure.
We were just in there like, okay, show me the numbers.
But my point of this, if I may, is that if you're willing to invest the time, effort, and energy and to work at it, you can find a deal.
Yes, and if they're not going to work with you, walk.
It's a novel idea, right?
As long as you know that you're being realistic. Like,
yes.
So Phil knows this too. You know, we've gotten members who are like, I'm just going to offer 50% less than their asking price.
Why?
Nobody's going to work with you.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to.
No, they're going to show you the door.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen.
And, you know, you got to be realistic. We were aiming for a $2,000 discount is what we were aiming for.
Yeah.
We got a $3,000, but we were aiming for $2,000. That was a realistic discount on that vehicle. You know, we did all of our homework. You know, and there were some that we had the Toyota as a trade, which is all he was going to put down was his trade.
Yes.
Some of the people didn't want to do that. The one that wouldn't give us $1 was $3,000 less than we had at CarMax for our offer. And we're like, well, we'll just go to CarMax and do it. Why would we? I'm in California, you know, we're in California. So there's no tax benefit for trade here.
Exactly.
So I don't care who I sell it to. It's going to work out the same. So we had to do that. Now, again, San Leandro came in low and had some initial options on the first pencil. And we said, here's our offer from CarMax. We don't want any of this stuff. And it was literally just, okay. And that was it. It was just, he said, okay, cross out the optional stuff. And I went up on the trade and there was just no problem with it. It was really quick. But, you know, you got to know your numbers and know what to push back for on that stuff too. Because, you know, like anyway, even though we got a great deal, we may not have gotten it at all if we had just gone with that first pencil and went, okay, I guess that's what it is.
So when we see comments where people say, I don't see it in my neighborhood, I don't see it where I live. Well, you're a perfect example of that.
Yes. I say that all the time. I'm like, correct. I'm in Sacramento.
Yeah.
You're right. You're not getting a deal here.
So
but you don't have to go that
out.
far. Yeah.
How far is the Bay Area?
So that was just under 2 hours from us.
Okay.
But
so,
you
that's
know,
not bad.
We happen to be visiting the coast anyway. So we actually went to that one because we went to Santa Cruz. You know, had some beach time there. And then on our way back, we went, you know what, let's look at this other dealership. And we went over there.
It is what we have been saying. You know, deals can be localized. If you can't get a deal where you are, don't be afraid to go outside of where you are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, it's, you know, we're Americans. We think of it, we measure everything in time rather than distance.
Yes.
So, you know, for me, you know, as Phil said, you know,
justice.
2 hours to save $3,000. Yeah.
I would do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and we did.
And
now,
and if I may, it's actually 4 hours because, well, you got to come back. But it's still at $750 an hour. It's still worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess so. We happened to be going to Santa Cruz anyway. So there was a tiki bar there. I really wanted to try.
Well, I'm beginning to understand now. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so for us, it worked out. But yeah, so we're trying. Justin is a great example of this.
Yes.
right? He
Yeah,
went up
true.
to, was it
Long
New
Island.
Jersey?
He
Long
went up to
Island,
Long
yeah.
Island to get his from West
From
Virginia.
West Virginia.
Yeah,
For the same reason, like you just, decide, you need to weigh out your time versus money and weigh those things out, and if it's worth it for you.
absolutely.
Unfortunately, that's where the good news stops.
Uh-oh.
Well,
What's the
not
bad news?
not. So there were some things with the Ioniq 5 that I found weird. So they're doing 2 years of free supercharging with Electrify America,
Okay.
which we liked. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
great. Actually convinced us to lease it for 2 years. Like, oh, so 2 years free supercharge, then we'll lease it for 2 years.
Yeah.
Great. And then in 2 years, we'll figure out what else is going on. So I had no problem with that. But they no longer come with a charging cable. That's not included anymore
Yeah.
in the vehicle.
Oh.
And I didn't really care for that. And they don't come with an adapter. We asked about, because they're moving next year to the North American charging standard, the Tesla charger,
Mhm.
and we asked about the adapter, and they said maybe, but not until 2025.
Gotcha.
So no adapter, no charging cord. It's like, I didn't really care for that. And then we get into, so we've had it for 3 weeks. I've traveled around with him a little bit in it, because making him drive everywhere, and because I want to know
Yeah.
what a non-Tesla is. Like, I know what my car is, but I don't drive in a lot of other EVs, and I really have had a lot of questions about the EA experience. I hear all the time about these issues with the chargers and this and that, and I can happily report that correct, they're mostly broken. Yeah, I would say what we've hit is about 50%.
Oh my
50%
wow.
of them are just not working. He has the car that can take the 350 kilowatt charging as well.
Yes.
Every 350 kilowatt charger he's gone to, no,
Doesn't
it's
work.
been broken. He's been able to get to 2 of them, and the max they gave him is 125 kilowatts.
Wow.
So it's like,
Wow.
okay. Now the other thing too is the free supercharging is 30 minutes of free supercharging per day. So, which is fine if you're.
How much will that give you within?
You can
for
fully
30
charge in 30 minutes. I mean, I've always fully charged, but he went from Sacramento to San Francisco proper. So it's about 2 hour and 15-minute drive. Charged up there, came back, and didn't have any problem. So he was able to do that drive back and forth without a problem with the charge. So, it gives you a good amount. He commutes every day, about 20 minutes to work every day and back. One of the things that made him lean towards EV is he works for the state of California, and they have free level 2 chargers at his work.
Oh wow.
So he charges up there.
So you're paying for him to charge his car.
Yeah, well, yeah. But and he worked for the DMV, so man, are we paying?
Oh yeah.
And then, but his power company gave him $500 towards a free equipment to charge at home, which cost $519. So they
I
paid
got that for free. It's
$19.
Well, not
Yeah.
free, but-
For that. Well, they did, Phil, because also all of his electricity after 8 p.m. to like 6 a.m. is like 50% of the normal rate. So, he got a great deal with all that. So even when he's charging at home, super cheap, charge for free at work, 30 minutes of free supercharging. So basically, the guy who wanted to save some money on gas
Is saving a poop ton.
tons and tons and tons. So that's great. But I did start asking him, I'm like, how much would it cost if you were paying for it? Because, that's something I want to know. That's something I don't know. I pulled up my charging here. Let me pull it up here. You can all read that. I pulled up my charging here, which is from Tesla. I pay about 18 cents a kilowatt hour
Okay.
for mine. You know, it can vary. I've seen as high as like 39 cents, I think, in certain, because Tesla does peak charging, you know. So you kind of go, this is my screen in my car. I just pull it up, look at on the map on the screen. I can choose, you know, distance or, you know, what I usually do. Okay, it's 15 cents a kilowatt hour or 21 cents a kilowatt hour. I'm going to go ahead and go to the 15 cents because I just do it once a week. I don't drive that much. It's not a big deal for me. But I pay 18 cents on average.
Okay.
So I asked him, and I don't know if you can see this number right over here
Yeah.
that says 48 cents a kilowatt hour.
That's kind of crazy expensive, isn't it?
And I went, wait, why is that 30 cents? Why is that almost 3 times what I'm paying for mine? I'm like, is that realistic? Like maybe that was just the one he went to. And he said he kept pulling them up. So we went to a Target the other day, right next to Tesla. I charged my Tesla and drove the Cybertruck. Best driving experience I ever had. Want the Cybertruck again. Anyway, we went next door to charge up, and this was his charging experience. I don't know if you can see this amount right.
56 cents.
56 cents a kilowatt hour for him to charge. Now
where is this charging at again, Justice? Where is this at?
This is Electrify America up in Roseville, California.
Oh my goodness.
Or well, I guess
Wow.
Wow.
So we're comparing Tesla versus what you were getting paid or getting charged versus what they're charging, which is
I'm paying 18 cents a kilowatt hour on average. He paid 56 cents at this. And so which crazy. I was like, I had to kind of look at it and do some comparisons. So let me see.
That's 3 times the amount.
Yep. Yeah, sure is. So I did some math homework on it. And if you look here, this is, everyone knows Gas Buddy, right? So the average gas for regular unleaded in my area right now is $4.43 a gallon. So if I go over here and I put 4.43 cents a gallon in fuel versus a Toyota RAV4 hybrid all-wheel drive, which is somewhat comparable in size to his that's an Ioniq 6. I wanted the Ioniq 5 here. So he would save over 15,000 miles a year, $885 with this. That's at 18 cents a kilowatt hour.
Okay.
That's what I pay.
Yes.
At 56 cents a kilowatt hour, he would pay $842 more by driving EV than by driving that hybrid.
Oh my!
It would literally cost him more money. And that is absolutely insane to me. And I even looked at this. Let's just say you have a RAV4 all-wheel drive non-hybrid. It's still cheaper than paying for driving around in the Ioniq 5 at 56 cents a kilowatt hour.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
What is preventing, as EV usage goes up, continues to go up, what is preventing these companies from raising their rates even more?
Well, so there is an answer to that, which is the electric energy segment is the most regulated segment in the United States. There is nobody more. So they're actually not allowed. I don't know every state, but in California, you can't just raise your rates.
But
You
but if you're
absolutely can't.
but if you're a private entity like Electrify America, okay.
Well, yeah. So charging rates are different than the power company.
Right.
Yes,
Agreed.
yes.
Right.
So
Yes, agreed.
that's so what my question is, what's preventing Electrify America or any other charging company from raising, as EV usage grows, what's preventing them from upping the charge so dramatically that the alleged savings that the person was hoping to get by having an electric vehicle is actually a greater cost than if they would have continued with an ICE vehicle, even though you won't be allowed to drive an ICE vehicle at a certain point in time.
Well, so that
I
was
really hope that doesn't come, but I know it is.
that,
Anyway, go on.
that was my question too, Ray. Power companies are very regulated.
Yeah,
You know,
that I get.
PG&E can't just go Pacific Gas and Electric. For
Yeah.
those who don't live in California, they're the ones that cause all the wildfires here.
Well, not all, but one or two.
Um, 6 pretty
Okay.
major ones, including the 2 largest in our history. And then we find them
EA's going to be
billions
able
of
to charge
dollars.
whatever they want.
But these charging stations don't look, if Tesla right next door is charging 18 cents a kilowatt hour and you're charging 56, I'm going to say there may not be any. And I mean, I keep in mind when I'm doing my calculations, I'm doing it with the California gas too.
Yeah.
I understand a lot of people don't have $4.43 gas right now.
Yeah.
And also I don't know what, say, in Texas, the kilowatt per hour at Electrify America might be. But I was so shocked to see that. I mean, again, for my buddy, it doesn't matter. He's getting 2 years free.
Yeah.
Plus, and the pushback I know, I'm sure I'll see this is, like, if you can charge at home, of course, it won't be those rates. Absolutely. But, I personally can't charge at home. I have to. And if Tesla was at the 40, 50 cents a kilowatt hour, it would be killing me. Like
Yeah.
I couldn't, I mean, I can't afford it, but I don't want to afford it. And that I
Right.
really would be kind of like, well, what are you? I am still saving in maintenance. I know someone said, asked about insurance. He had to switch companies to lower his insurance. But his insurance did go lower than the Toyota. Again, with an EV, you just have to shop around. You can't go with the Progressives of the world or State Farm. Yeah, those are definitely going to be more on the EV insurance. But you can shop around and get it. But I mean, he didn't save a ton, but it was cheaper.
I'd like to hope as the volume of EVs start to go up, that hopefully there should be, these companies like EA might actually tend to drop their price down because they're getting more people coming. But Ray, you're right. I would love to be hopeful and think that might be the route.
If 90% of the vehicles at a certain point in time are electric vehicles, okay, and you don't have access to the Tesla charging network at the time, you're at their mercy. And
True.
And
yeah, well, but I mean, to your point
that.
though, Ray, is that's one of the great things about Tesla opening up their network is, and I think, Phil, what your point was, is the economy of scale hopefully means that, and competition.
It will come into sort of an
equilibrium. Yeah. Because once everyone's on the North American charging standard and you can choose where you go, are you going to go to EA at 56 cents a kilowatt hour or to Tesla at, say, 30 cents a kilowatt hour? Let's say Tesla goes up to 30 because, it's not just for their cars anymore.
But here's my but to that. But if charging stations become like gas stations, in the sense that they're like almost on every corner, and you need to charge, are you just going to go to the most convenient location on your side of the road and go charge your car? And my suspicion is that they're counting on when you need to charge, you're stopping at the closest place that's on your side of the road, regardless of what the price is. And
Well, yeah, I mean that's what they do with gas now, right?
yes,
Mhm.
and we have proven that as companies merge in industries,
Mm.
competition becomes less and less, and
Oh,
prices actually go up.
Yes.
So who why would we think for a second that these independent charging companies out there, and I know there's more than just Electrify America. I don't know the names of them all, but if they eventually all merge, and instead of there being a half a dozen, there's two. Well, that's not competition.
Yeah. Well, that's what we need to definitely. I somehow America has gotten away from monopolies, or think that if there's two, it's not a monopoly.
yeah.
It most definitely is, and I agree with that. We've seen way too many emergings under every left and right administration there has been. We've seen way too many consolidations. I think the 80s was the last time we broke something up. Oh, well, 90s, I guess, with the Clinton and the Microsoft thing. Um, but that was the last time I can think of that we actually said, hey, no. You need open, fair competition. We seem to be consolidating everything right now, and I agree, Ray. I would really hate to see that happen. I know we've had some other people in the comments talk about more solar too. I agree. The Where I charge at Tesla in Rockland, it's covered in solar. I know that's what's charging um,
Yeah.
all their gear, and there
Mhm.
was no solar at the Target, so they're paying. They're right by the junction box. Um, there needs to be a lot more infrastructure built up, even here in California. There needs to be, but especially outside of California. But and when we talk infrastructure, we don't just mean chargers. We mean uh, solar, wind, other things that can help generate some of this electricity and bring this cheaper. Because I will tell you right now, I was very much looking at the EV9. I really like the EV9.
Yeah.
I look at these EA prices and I said, no, I'm just gonna stick with my Tesla. Thank you. There's
Uh-huh.
no way I'm gonna have him. I'm gonna have my buddy sign up for the Tesla program because I do want to know also what the Tesla markup is for non-Teslas. I'm good. That's my next test. That's the next thing we're gonna do. Is
Watch,
I
it'll be
want
in
to
the
know.
40 to 50 cent
It,
range.
it
And
might be, and that would again be that's a deal breaker for me. I mean, I still save on maintenance. I still don't have to do that. I still like all that. I like the tech of the car, but one of my main catalysts was always a savings. On
Uh-huh.
top of the fact that I like the tech, I don't like breathing in all that crap from ICE vehicles. I hate that. Always have. I don't like the noise, all
Oh,
that.
it
So,
sounds so good.
oh, so, um, but with all that,
Those VH Justice, I'm telling you.
Uh, what you love, Phil, just sounds like horses clopping along to me.
Oh my God.
It's just so antiquated, and it's just like, oh, why does it look? Not the old ones. You can tell the difference between artificial and real, like engine sounds, and there's just too many artificial ones out there for me now. But there was a 74, I think, SS Camaro that went by me the other day, and it was like, yeah, that's a real sound. I
yeah.
understand that that's what that engine is doing. But then there was like, I don't know, it was a Japanese vehicle, but they were pulling away from a
Mhm.
stop sign like 15 miles an hour in that car. I'm like, really? For
Yeah,
15 miles an hour? You need all that?
probably a 4-cylinder. You with
Yeah,
the
it was just, I'm like, you're working way too hard to get out of a stop sign. Like, that's ridiculous.
No, I'm talking about a current day Mustang or Camaro with the V8. That sound
Well,
is
so
just
Mustang, though, is mostly artificial. You can, Is it the Mustang or the Camaro now? You can actually go in and turn off the sound. I think it's the Mustang.
Well,
But
it's
it might
because it
be
has baffles on the in the muffler, so that you can tune you can quiet it, or you can have it full open, so you can get all of the sound coming out of it. But
I used to do that with when I had my mini Roadster, and I'd put it in sport mode so I could listen to it fart.
the
That's funny.
I know the new Ioniq 5N line has engine sounds for you, Phil.
Really?
Yep, you can play with how much of an engine sound it has,
No,
and you can
no.
shift it.
I don't want any of that. I don't want any of that.
Yeah. And I just want to clarify with Igor here. Thank you. I did not get it from CarMax. I
Yeah.
had a car reserved at CarMax, and I used that at my old dealership actually to leverage a better deal with my dealership. So I didn't end up going to CarMax, even though it was right when they panicked. So the second time Tesla dropped their prices, and they dropped them like $6,000 the week before, and CarMax panicked, and I went, now I'm going to go now and get it. But I did use the CarMax, but it was with my old dealership. And my first pencil to final was a $15,000 difference. So I was happy with. I'm still happy with my purchase,
and we're happy for
as you should be.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
So
I still like my car. I would be. I will say at 50 cents a kilowatt hour, I'd be much less happy with my car.
I'm sure. But
so
you don't drive a whole lot, though. So I'm wondering over like the whole.
It would take a long time for me to get there. But although,
Mhm.
let's say, I don't drive a lot every day, Phil, but once a quarter I go to LA.
Yeah, I mean,
And I don't want to. I mean, it's, yeah.
once a month I seem to go to Washington D.C.
Yeah.
Yes, you do, Ray.
But I just take the train. Screw the car.
I took the train to LA once.
Yes, and how long of a train ride was it?
26 hours.
Excuse me. From where did you take the train from? Where did you start?
I started still in California.
Oh, stop
up
it.
in Sacramento. Yeah.
That's
No.
crazy. 26 hours.
How could it take
Jeez.
26 hours? What, was it drawn by mules?
It would have been faster. We had stopped so many times along that, like, we never really got up to, I mean, through Bakersfield, sure, where everyone tries to speed through. Sorry, Bakersfield. But otherwise, it was anytime you started getting up to a real speed, you started slowing down because there was another station coming in. And then the train doesn't go over the Grapevine. You had to transfer to a bus to get up over into the LA Valley, and then you can get on a train again. It was stupid.
Wow. I
it
mean,
was stupid. This is a drive that takes me about 6.5 hours.
Yeah, that's not. I mean, I could drive from where I am to Zach's in probably about 3.5 hours. Okay.
Yeah.
I take the train. I will catch the 10:31 New Jersey Transit train tomorrow at the Atlantic City Rail Station, and that train ride to Philadelphia, which is normally about a 55-minute drive to 30th Street Station if I were to drive there. That train ride will take an hour and 40 minutes because that is the local. I mean, there's the proverbial you're stopping all the time. Then I have a wait for about 45 minutes or an hour, and because I decided to go with the Acela, and I take the Acela from Philadelphia to Union Station in Washington, and the Acela takes about an hour and 30 minutes or so. And that's because that son of a gun, that's traveling. You're
One of these days,
yes,
Ray, I'll get on a train. I've never I've never been on a train a day in my life.
Oh my God.
No.
It is, I can tell you that the transit train is not the most relaxing train ever. Okay.
Yeah.
It is not. But I will tell you that like the Northeast Regional or some of the other trains that go from Philadelphia to Washington plus the Acela, they're an absolute. I mean, you have Wi-Fi,
Mhm.
you have charging for everything, and I mean, yeah. Am I rocking back and forth as the train rocks? Yeah, of course. Uh, but I'm not driving. I'm not spending for gas. I'm not spending for tolls. I don't have to pay attention. And does it take me longer? I mean, I'll leave tomorrow morning from my apartment at 10 o'clock, and I'll get into Washington, close to 3. So it's going to take me 5 hours. But hell, I'm not even driving to the train station. I'm taking a lift. I'm not driving. It is, I can relax the entire time. Is it
Yeah.
cheap?
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
The New Jersey
One of these
Transit
days.
cheap, but I mean, you got to. It's a unique way to travel, different from an airplane.
Yeah, I just always fly everywhere. I
Yeah,
mean,
well,
when I was younger, I just hopped in the car and went where I needed to go, right? But
Yeah.
yes,
outside of that, I'm on a plane.
it
But
when Zach goes to New York, catches a train at Union Station in Washington, takes it up to New York.
see, the Northeast, you guys are fortunate to be able to have that kind of transit system. So in the Detroit area, we don't have that here, right?
No,
And most metropolitan areas really don't have a whole robust kind of transfer, rail system. I kind of wish that we did. I kind of wish that we did have a more, like Europe has. They've got a really nice rail system over there, and
yes.
we don't invest in it, and that's
Well,
that's unfortunate.
I
Well,
mean,
the
Europe
government,
fits into Texas, Phil.
I know. All right, stop.
and 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 the government has invested in Amtrak, and it's
Yep.
That's true.
still a losing proposition for the government. Um,
I can tell you how much we've spent on our high-speed rail here that got funneled to corruption, and we don't have a single mile of track.
yeah, but you've got some rich people from the corruption.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. We got lots of rich people. But my other thing with the train, Ray, was it was $110 each way. And
well, for the amount of time it took, that's crazy.
it's
They,
I
they
was
should
just
pay you.
like, well, so I could drive it. At that time, I still had my ICE vehicle too. So
Yeah.
I'm like, so it cost me less than half of that in gas to get to and from.
Yes.
When I get there, I have a car to go around in.
No, I understand.
This was before I actually was stationed down in LA for 9 months and learned you can get around LA with public transportation really, really well.
Yeah.
And I did. For those 9 months, I used public transportation in LA, almost never a bus, but the rail system there was amazing, and you can get anywhere and quickly. So I use that there, but
You can't drive anywhere quickly in that town, so
no, it was
you gotta
way
take the
faster
train.
to take the light rail train to Santa Monica than it was to
Yeah.
get onto the 405.
Right.
That was crazy.
Wow. Well, I'm sticking with the train, even though I mean you can get. I think I've seen the fares on the Northeast Regional if you buy early enough, enough time in advance. It's like $18 from Philadelphia to DC by
Mhm.
train. And that's pretty reasonable.
That
You're
is
going to
pretty
spend more
reasonable.
than that in gas and tolls if you're driving there.
Mhm.
So, because for instance, if you take 95, I think the toll in Delaware for when you're on Interstate 95 in Delaware is like $6 or $7. They charge more per mile for their section of Interstate 95 than any other state does. Because you're not on Interstate. Delaware's kind of tiny, but man, they really knock your socks off when it comes to the tolls for Interstate 95 through Delaware. So to take a train for $18, it's a veritable bargain.
Yeah, so I just looked it up, by the way. $111 to go to LA from Sacramento via Amtrak, and
That's crazy.
$84 to fly.
Okay.
So no brainer for me. I'm gonna go ahead and get on that plane, and in 45 minutes, I'll go ahead and hop off that plane.
Who was it? Herb Kelleher, who was the original CEO of Southwest Airlines. I remember him doing an interview on 60 Minutes, however many years ago it was. And, he talked about Southwest Airlines, and his whole concept in his mind was that Southwest Airlines should be inexpensive enough so that it competes with rail and buses, so that you say to yourself, oh my goodness,
yeah,
I'd be a fool to take the train or take the bus. This is as cheap or cheaper than other modes of transportation. He seemed to have been onto something.
Yes,
I would say, since for many, many years, that was America's only profitable airline.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to use them all the time.
Yeah.
When I lived in Tucson and would have to come back to California, I only used Southwest. It was
Southwest
great.
Was smart.
It was dirt cheap, and it was fine. I liked the I just go on and sit wherever I want to sit and don't have to worry about that thing. I loved it back then.
It was all about the operations. Well,
yeah,
a lot of it was, right? They only operated the 737. And in terms of maintenance and in terms of operating one particular aircraft across the whole fleet.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. That makes sense, Phil. And so all your parts fit all your planes.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And no airline turns around a plane as quickly as they do, from when it gets to the gate to when it leaves the gate. I mean, they have they are like a pit crew for Formula One.
And part of it, Ray, is that there are no assigned seats, right?
Yeah.
So when you're lining up, to get onto the plane, you just get in line and you just get on the plane, right?
Yes.
Frustrates me to no end in today's travel when you're at the airport and they call ready for boarding, and about 75% of the people are already hoarding around the door to get onto the plane. I'm like, this is you're not going to get on the plane any quicker. Like, why?
No, nor is your seat going to change.
Yeah, it's not going to change. It isn't.
I usually just sit back until it's the last group is on. I'm like, then I'll go because I don't have to fight anybody.
Yeah,
I already know where my seat is, so it's not like the Southwest. So Diane says we are a stream of consciousness show.
We are indeed.
We are indeed. We always start off where we say we're going to.
Yes.
And then that's the whole point. We can just
I apologize for getting us off track, which I normally do. So
I see what you did there, off track.
Yes,
I got it.
Off the train into the air, back into an EV. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
But it really is all about planes, trains, and automobiles.
Yeah, that's right.
See,
that's right.
It is.
Yeah.
We can talk about electric planes if that makes anyone feel better.
Let me ask you one other question, if I can. If the future is like Electrify America and ridiculously high kilowatt hour charges, was there anything else that you discovered in this journey with your friend when he was getting his Ioniq 5? So that would lead you to say, maybe EVs aren't the future.
I mean, I have definitely questions finding out how much these chargers are now and how broken They are like EA is the largest non-Tesla charging group that's out there.
Yes.
And we're in California, which does mean a lot
Stewart.
that we're here with all the infrastructure that we have and all the EVs, and it's just broken all the time.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
It's got to get better. It just, and I get it. You're right. It's just some speed bumps right now. That's what I say too. I said last year, I've said every year, there's no way we're hitting these government targets. That was never going to happen. You can set any goal you want. We were never going to hit that. It needs to be a transition that we have to be there for. And these are the kind of things that we're looking at. Look, if we had to institute the OPEC. We had to institute OPEC to get oil prices to sort of remain somewhat consistent-ish, sort of.
somewhat. Sure.
We may have to do that with some sort of thing with the charging rates, but I at the same time, I still think free market. I understand what you're saying, Ray. People will go to the convenience, and I would still say more people own houses than don't. So that'll play into it too, where you just won't be charging that much. But when you're on a road trip, you probably will just go to the closest one.
If you're on the interstate,
yeah,
I mean, last time I checked, correct me if I'm wrong. If you're on the interstate, you're on a turnpike, whatever it is you're on, and you need gas, it's not the least expensive when you stop at one of those fuel stations that are just off the interstate. They paid a lot for that land. So, when they build these charging networks along the interstates, along the turnpikes and everything, why would we think that kilowatt hour rates are going to be? They won't be, and
they're dynamic already.
And what I was going to add to that is why would we believe that even as we build more infrastructure, that anybody's going to keep it up to date and working?
Yeah.
If you have 10,000 chargers and only 5,000 of them work, but then you increase the number to 20,000 chargers, but only 10,000 of them work. I mean, what the hell? It's not like you've increased your chances of finding one that works, but not as significantly as you should have, or that you would hope that they would be.
There's got to be some sort of, I don't know, because when was the last time you were at a gas station that half the pumps were broken? I've been to a lot of gas stations where one might be out.
I've just been there where they ran out of gas.
Yes.
Not broken.
Yeah. and may I say, the beautiful thing about New Jersey is I don't care if the pumps are broken. I'm not allowed to pump my own gas in New Jersey.
That's right.
Right. You're the last holdout. Right?
Yes. So I have no idea. That's the attendant's problem, not mine.
But you still have to pull up to the right pump, right?
Yeah. I mean, they'll have a sign that says out of order. Yeah.
Yeah. But my point is that that sign's not on half the pumps.
No,
right?
Never.
So, and the EA has to get that under control.
Yes, they do.
I've only had 2 incidents where I went to a Tesla and they had a charger that was broken, but they don't tend to have 3 like EA. That was the other thing.
Yeah.
All the stops we go to, with my buddy, there's 3 EA chargers. I think the smallest Tesla I've ever been to was 10.
Wow.
So, and the one I go to all the time has 22. So I'm that was the other thing. It was up in Rockland where half of them were broken. There were people parked there, and you just see a whole bunch of EVs sort of drive by them, and they just keep driving by because there's not enough spaces.
Are the connectors broken? What's actually?
It's so on all of those, that I've been there for, the actual screen is off, and the whole thing is shut down. Now I don't know why, but I haven't seen any like cut cables or anything like that. It's just been, either software or hardware related that it's just down.
Yeah. Do you know what time it is?
I believe it's time for you to tell us what you're going to eat.
Peanut butter and jelly.
All right.
Oh, all right.
Hey.
All right. Going old school, right?
Yeah, old school peanut butter and jelly on white bread.
Are you leaving for DC today or tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Oh,
Yes, tomorrow. And I'm not coming back from DC until Monday afternoon after I do the show live with Zach from Washington DC, and then I'll catch my train ride home. Yeah,
nice. All right. Well, you enjoy your PB&J.
yes. What are you kids going to do for lunch?
I don't
already had
know
lunch.
today. I don't. Yeah. Well,
I don't know how you wait until 1:30, Ray.
This big ass cup of coffee fills me up.
You've got live shows from. Well, you have a live show at noon too that you do.
Yeah. No, I just drink this big ass cup of coffee from like 9 o'clock on, and that holds me over.
I don't eat until 3.
Really?
No, because I have to
3?
work, and my boss won't let me have lunch. No, that's not true, folks. That's not true. He would let me have lunch. I just usually don't take it.
Wow.
Igor's got sushi in that. I might go for some sushi today. It's Friday, so I might kick out and go get some sushi after work.
If it was Nova Scotia lox, I might entertain it. But that and tuna fish in a can are the only fishes I'm eating. So
I'm thinking of a nice California roll. Sounds good.
Well, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. See, look at that.
Yeah.
California rolls.
Well, there you have it. Yeah. Well, I'm going to go eat.
All right. Thank you, everyone. We'll be back next week with something. I don't know what we'll talk about. We don't even know what we talk about on the day.
Planes and automobiles.
Yeah.
We will talk about. Oh, maybe we'll talk about Apple discontinuing the project that they said never existed for 10 years.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah, and we could talk about climate change and how that climate change, we could actually be losing an ocean. The Fisker Ocean.
Yep, the Fisker Ocean.
Nice, Ray. Like it.
but I think that has nothing to do with climate change.
No, that was Marcus Brownlee said worst car he's ever reviewed.
Yes.
I know the brother of the guy who owns the two that are in Sacramento.
Yeah,
and he's had nothing but trouble with his.
But Marcus was rooting for the Fisker Ocean.
A lot of us were. I know you were, Ray, too.
Yes.
You liked it. I really liked it. When we were at the car show, I was like, hey, but yeah, I mean, this is the third time in a row for them. Yeah. I like when the last time when the boat sank and then they're like, oh, we got to do a completely new car.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't just rebuild that car where they all sunk. You just went, we're just going to go back to the drawing board. I feel like there may have been something up with that. So, lots of stuff to talk about next week.
See, so we'll be back talking about that. We promise.
All right. Everyone have a good day. Have a good weekend.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.